Look, if you're watching this right now, broken and exhausted, feeling like life has crushed every dream you ever had, I need you to hear this. You didn't stumble upon this video by accident. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Your suffering isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of your transformation. The darkness you're walking through right now, it's not destroying you. It's rebuilding you into someone unrecognizable. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes, because what I'm about to share will change everything you thought you knew about recovery. Listen carefully. That pain you're trying to hide from everyone, that's not your weakness. Jung called it the wounded healer archetype, and it's the exact ingredient that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary forces of nature. You see, most people run from their pain. They medicate it, distract from it, pretend it doesn't exist. But you're different. The fact that you're here, searching for answers in the darkness, tells me you're ready for the truth. Here's what nobody tells you about rock bottom. It's the most honest place you'll ever stand. The Bible says in Psalm 30 verse 5, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." Your night has been long, hasn't it? But pay attention to what's happening beneath the surface. Every moment of suffering is cracking open the false version of yourself, the one built on other people's expectations, society's lies, and your own illusions. When life strips everything away from you, it's not being cruel. It's being honest. It's showing you what was never truly yours to begin with. Your job, your relationship, your old identity, they had to fall apart so the real you could finally emerge. This isn't destruction, my friend. This is the clearing of ground before new construction begins. Your mind is screaming at you right now, isn't it? Telling you that you've failed, that it's too late, that you're too damaged to recover. But here's what Jung understood that most people never grasp. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And becoming who you truly are requires the death of who you pretended to be. That death feels like failure. It feels like the end. But it's actually the most honest moment of your entire life. Napoleon Hill wrote in Think and Grow Rich that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Stop looking at your situation as pure loss. Start searching for the seed hidden in the rubble. I know that sounds abstract right now. So let me give you something concrete. I once knew a man who lost his business, his marriage, and his health all in 1 year. He was 47. Everyone thought he was finished. But here's what happened. He stopped running from the question, "Why did this happen?" and started asking, "What does this make possible?" Within 2 years, he'd rebuilt everything, but this time aligned with who he actually was, not who he thought he should be. That shift in question changed his entire trajectory. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." What question are you asking right now? Take a breath for a second. Let that sink in. You're still here. That means something. Now we're getting to the uncomfortable part, but this is where your real power lives. Jung's most revolutionary concept was the shadow, all the parts of yourself you've rejected, denied, and buried deep down. Your anger, your shame, your fear, your selfishness. Most people spend their entire lives running from their shadow, and that's exactly why they stay stuck. You can't outrun what lives inside you. Here's the truth that'll set you free. Your shadow isn't your enemy. It's your fuel. Every great leader, every spiritual teacher, every person who's made a massive recovery had to face their darkness first. Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness confronting temptation. Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree facing his demons. Jung himself descended into what he called his confrontation with the unconscious and emerged with wisdom that changed psychology forever. What are you avoiding right now? What truth are you too scared to face? Maybe it's that you've been living someone else's life. Maybe it's that you've betrayed yourself repeatedly to please others. Maybe it's that you're angry, deeply, rightfully angry, and you've been taught that anger is wrong. Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your recovery begins the moment you stop pretending and start being ruthlessly honest. Part 4, Rebuilding Your Life from the Foundation Up. Pay attention now, this is where most people get it wrong. They want to rebuild their life exactly as it was before, just without the pain. But Jung would tell you that's the biggest mistake you could make. Why would you rebuild a house that already collapsed? Why would you recreate a life that already proved it couldn't hold you? Your recovery isn't about restoration. It's about revolution. Romans 12 verse 2 tells us, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Notice it doesn't say reformed or repaired, it says transformed. Complete metamorphosis. This requires you to question everything. Your career path. Your relationships. Your beliefs about what success means. Your identity itself. Everything that brought you to this breaking point must be examined under the harsh light of truth. Start with your non-negotiables. Not what society says you should want, what your soul is actually screaming for. Jung believed in the process of individuation, becoming the fullest, most authentic version of yourself. That can't happen while you're still trying to fit into boxes that were never designed for you. Simple question, what do I actually value? What brings me alive? What would I do if I wasn't afraid of judgment? Your answers are the blueprint for your new life. Everything you thought was falling apart was actually falling into place. The universe doesn't make mistakes, it makes miracles. Jung studied ancient religions, mystery schools, and indigenous cultures, and he found this same pattern everywhere, symbolic death and rebirth. Not physical death, the shedding of an old self. The shamans called it ego death. The mystics called it the dark night of the soul. Jung called it psychic transformation. And you, my friend, are living through it right now. In 1 Corinthians 15 verse 36, Paul writes, what you sow does not come to life unless it dies. Think about that. The seed must die for the tree to live. Your old identity, your old patterns, your old limitations, they're dying right now, and it's supposed to hurt. That pain is proof that you're alive enough to transform. Dead things don't feel pain. You're not dead. You're in the sacred transition between who you were and who you're becoming. Here's your practical step. Create a ritual of release. Write down everything you're letting go of, the old beliefs, the toxic relationships, the version of yourself that no longer serves you. Then burn that paper or bury it. Jung understood the power of symbolic action. Your unconscious mind responds to symbols, to rituals, to intentional acts of transformation. Make your change conscious. Make it ceremonial. Make it real. If this is hitting something deep inside you right now, stay with me. What comes next is the key to everything. Now listen, this is the question everyone asks when they're rebuilding. What am I supposed to do with my life? But Jung would flip that question on its head. He'd ask instead, what is life asking of you right now? See the difference? One question comes from ego and fear. The other comes from soul and service. Your purpose isn't something you create out of thin air. It's something you uncover beneath the rubble. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi death camps, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Your circumstances may have been brutal, unfair, devastating, but they've also given you something priceless, the depth of understanding that people who've never suffered will never possess. That understanding is your purpose waiting to be born. Think about this. Who are you uniquely positioned to help because of what you've been through? What wisdom have you gained that others desperately need? Jung said the wounded healer is the most powerful archetype because your scars become your credentials. Stop seeing your suffering as wasted time. It was your training ground. Your recovery isn't just about you healing, it's about you becoming someone who helps others heal. Here's where the rubber meets the road. Transformation isn't a one-time event. It's a daily practice. Every single morning, you wake up and you have a choice. Will you rebuild today, or will you collapse back into old patterns? Jung himself maintained a rigorous daily practice of dream analysis, active imagination, and self-reflection. He knew that consciousness requires constant vigilance. Proverbs 4 verse 23 warns us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Your mind is a garden, and right now you're planting new seeds. But weeds grow faster than flowers. You need daily disciplines to protect your progress. Morning meditation, journaling, physical exercise, reading wisdom literature. Surrounding yourself with people who reflect the person you're becoming, not the person you were. Make this practical. Create a sacred morning routine that's non-negotiable. Wake up 1 hour earlier than you need to and dedicate that hour to your rebuilding. Jung spent his mornings at his tower in Bollingen, in solitude and contemplation. You don't need a tower, you just need commitment. Every day you show up for yourself is a vote for the new you. Every day you skip is a vote for the old you. Which version are you voting for today? Pause right here. Feel where you are in this moment. You're not the same person who started this video. Something's shifting. Let's go deeper into something most self-help gurus won't tell you. Your darkness is your greatest asset once you integrate it. Jung spent decades teaching that wholeness requires embracing all parts of yourself, not just the pretty ones. Your anger, when channeled properly, becomes your courage. Your fear, when acknowledged, becomes your wisdom. Your shame, when healed, becomes your compassion. Think about the greatest leaders in history: Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Maya Angelou. They didn't become powerful by pretending they were perfect. They became powerful by transforming their wounds into wisdom, their pain into purpose. In Matthew 5 verse 4, Jesus says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." Notice he doesn't say blessed are those who pretend they're fine. He blesses the honest, the broken, the real. Here's your homework. Make a list of 5 things you've rejected about yourself. Now reframe each one as a potential strength. Maybe your stubbornness is actually persistence. Maybe your sensitivity is actually empathy. Maybe your intensity is actually passion. Jung called this shadow integration, taking the rejected parts of yourself and giving them a proper place at the table. You're not becoming someone new. You're becoming someone whole. Now that you've done the internal work, it's time to manifest it externally. Jung believed that your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. The clarity you've gained through suffering must now be expressed in how you live, work, love, and create. This is where your recovery becomes visible to the world. Napoleon Hill taught that thoughts are things. Your new thoughts about yourself, about life, about what's possible, they need to crystallize into new actions, new habits, new choices. Start small but start sacred. If you value health, move your body today. If you value creativity, create something today. If you value connection, reach out to someone today. Authenticity isn't something you declare, it's something you demonstrate through consistent action. And here's the beautiful paradox Jung understood: the more authentic you become, the less you need external validation. You stop performing for applause and start living for alignment. Galatians 1 verse 10 asks, "Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings, or of God?" When your life reflects your true self, you stop caring about the audience. You're not performing anymore. You're just being. And that's when everything changes. So here we are, my friend. You came here broken, confused, maybe even hopeless. But I hope you're leaving with something different, not all the answers, but clear direction. Not certainty, but courage. Jung said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." Everything that's happened to you has prepared you for this moment of choice. Your recovery won't look like you imagined. It'll be messier, slower, and more profound than any fantasy you entertained during your darkest nights. But it will be real. It will be yours. And it will be worth every moment of pain you endured to get here. The prophet Joel declared in Joel 2 verse 25, "I will restore to you the years that the swarming locust has eaten." What's been taken from you will be returned, not in the same form, but in greater measure. Listen to me one final time. You didn't find this video by accident. Your soul called out for help, and the universe answered. Now it's your turn to answer the call. Stand up. Shake off the dust of who you used to be. And start walking toward who you're becoming. Your massive comeback isn't coming someday, it's starting right now, with the decision to believe that your story isn't over. It's just finally beginning to make sense. Now go rebuild your life like the warrior you were always meant to be. The old you is gone. And that's not a tragedy, it's a triumph. Carl Jung spent his entire life teaching us that the goal isn't to avoid suffering, but to transform it into meaning. You've suffered enough. Now it's time to mean something. Subscribe if this message resonated with your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear that their recovery is possible. And remember, you don't need permission to rise. You just need to decide. Your turn.